I'm taking this off because it's easier to talk without this on, and I'm pretty socially distanced from people. So yeah, taking it off. So I'm out here trying to get my last few steps of the day. Unfortunately, by the end-ish of the day, we're starting to lose the sun. I only had about 3,000 steps, and I'm really pushing for a second day where I actually get those 10,000 steps in. I've only got it in once this week. Just to start this video off, I want to say I thought this week would be way easier than it was. I was like, Alright, so I ended up not getting to actually recording my health and fitness check-in yesterday as I was wrapping up my exercise for the week. I ended the week with a little bit of yoga. I had a very interesting week, and I don't really have anything serious or deep I want to talk about this week. This week has just been about getting on track. It's hard to believe I've been back in Berkeley just a little bit over a week. I feel like I've been busy every day, and I've got nothing on my list done. Like, I bought this little weekly chart right here to sort of like plan my days out so I could get caught up on email and Instagram messages and all that stuff, and I got caught up on nothing. And I barely squeezed in the time for my workouts, and it just became a thing. Okay, what did I put on my list for the day? What am I gonna prioritize? Monday is always the day off, so I didn't really do anything on Monday. Not anything of significance. I just got back into Berkeley. Honestly, I just needed to like decompress. Tuesday, I ended up running around and doing a bunch of errands. I did not exercise. I did not focus on getting my steps in. I was just chasing errands all day, and before I knew it, it was the end of the day. And that was one of the big reasons I needed to come back to Berkeley and stay in Berkeley, is I just needed to take care of those things, as it were. And I did. And then, of course, the week went on. I did exercise 3 times this week, as far as like doing an actual like exercise video. I did that 3 times this week. And I got up to 10,000 steps twice this week. Only 2 out of the 7 days that I actually hit my 10,000 steps. It's not for tiredness. It's just for I need to like notch that out in my day so that it happens. I probably need to break it up somehow. Say like by this point in the day I want to have this many steps. By this point in the day I want to have this many steps. Just so it because the 2 days that I did it, it was like, okay, it's the end of the day and I only have 3,000 steps, or it's the end of the day and I only have like 5,000 some steps. I'm summarizing. I don't actually remember. I did post about it on Instagram, which I've been doing a lot more of. Things like this video where I'm prepping salad. And there we go. Into each bowl. So that's about half and half. And then whatever they have in the additional bag, I'll half and half all of that too. Put the dressing to the side. So literally there's like a little bag of cheese here. I literally fold it in half. And then cut it in half. like I said, I used to really stress over measuring these out, and it just made life harder. And I'm like, I'm eating both of them. If I'm off by a couple of calories each day because it wasn't perfectly in half, it really doesn't matter. So in half guesstimate for something that only I'm eating isn't as big of a deal when it comes to calculating the meal. So if you do follow me on Instagram, like, I'm going to be just throwing random stuff on there, like just random stuff about my weight loss journey. I might feature some of it in videos like these, but like the random daily stuff, I'm just going to be throwing on there. I have also already weighed in on Instagram and posted that video. I did it in the middle of like a supermarket parking lot. And so, I did trend down. So I've not only lost the weight I gained since I kind of like fell off the wagon in Baltimore, while I was very stressed out. There's a lot of weird lighting coming in from outside. I also have a fan on because it's not very, this is getting a mess. But anyway, I did trend down. I weighed in at 281, and my previous weigh-in, which was actually at the beginning of the week because I wanted to set a new, like, chart graph. I wanted to make sure I had a good graph of where I was, the kind of at the beginning of getting back to Berkeley to where I am now. And let me pull up the information. I do use two apps. I use Garmin Connect and my Fitness Pal to track all my information. All of my food information goes into my Fitness Pal. Everything I eat every day, I always track it. It's not that big of a deal, especially if you repeat meals, because you can just copy stuff over. So if, like, the last 3 days, I think I've had oatmeal for breakfast, and so I just literally just copy it over. And so it's not really that stressful because I'm eating a lot of the same things. And sometimes if food gets introduced where I don't know the calories, what I do is I find the closest thing I can find to it in my Fitness Pal, and then I just move on. But anyway, like I was saying, let me pull up these numbers. And the other app I use is Garmin Connect because I have a Garmin fitness watch. So since I track on a Garmin watch, I use the Garmin Connect app for obvious reasons. And the good thing is Garmin Connect is one of the apps that talks to my Fitness Pal. One of the reasons I got really frustrated with Weight Watchers is it's not compatible with the Garmin Connect app. It's compatible with Fitbit, and it's compatible with I think the Apple Watch, and maybe whatever. I know Android also has some sort of fitness thing that's Android based, or maybe Samsung has it. I don't actually know. Don't actually care. I have a Garmin band. I have a Garmin app. That app connects to my Fitness Pal so that my exercise information is feeding into my Fitness Pal as far as calories burned for the day, and my food information is feeding back into Garmin Connect. Those two apps seem to disagree on what my caloric intake is supposed to be. What I have, researched is independently is an entirely different thing. I think for weight loss, it said I could do 2,200 calories. I try not to go over 2,000, to be quite honest, but I do go over 2,000. But knowing I should still be able to hit my weight loss goals with about 2,200 calories, it makes me a little less afraid when I go over, unless I fell off for bigger reasons, then I don't know. But unless there's something where I'm I know I did things that quote unquote I consider wrong, I try not to flip out too much about it. And I've kept talking and I haven't pulled up this chart yet. So on November 15th, which is yesterday, I weighed in at 281.5 was the recorded number. If you look at the video, there's always a variance in my scale. I weighed in 281 twice. I weighed in 279 once, and I weighed in at 283. So I went with the 281, but even if you go with the 283, I still lost 2 pounds. I never take the first number because I always feel like the scale is calibrating when I step on it the first time. And then if something repeats twice, I'll go with that. And if not, I'll take the median between the highest number it recorded and the lowest number. And what I am approaching with the scale is that It is a tool. It is a way to measure difference, just like if I was physically measuring myself. Now, the reason why I don't physically measure myself is because it's freaking hard. You're putting the measuring tape around yourself. You're trying to like hold it on one side. You're trying to see what the measurement is. You're putting your body into weird positions. And especially at this weight that I am right now, I consider it more awkward and easy to lie to myself. Like if I'm like a centimeter higher, my waist is, if I'm taking a waist measurement and I'm not hitting it in the same spot, it could be slightly bigger or slightly smaller. And so I don't really see the use in like measuring myself for those reasons. I don't feel like I'm going to be accurate and consistent with the numbers. Whereas with the scale, it's also not consistent, but it's not as many variables. I stand on it. I do it 3 to 4 times depending on what the results are, and then I just sort of take a median of have I lost weight or am I gaining weight, because that part has stayed true even if there's like a 3 to 4 pound variance in the actual number that shows up. If it's trending downwards from the previous week, like the previous week I weighed in at 285 and this week I weighed in at 281. On the back end of leaving Baltimore, where I started eating at the Wawa every day while I was there cleaning out the storage unit, I was at 294, and I was like so upset with myself, and that was a really hard video I shot. So I was at 294 at that point. So I feel like, one, I have lost the weight I gained in Baltimore as much as I can trust the tools I have, and 2, I am continuing to lose weight, so I did get back on path. Mostly by really cracking down on my food again, which I've never not done. Now, one of the reasons I don't really talk about food a lot, and I know those topics are really popular on YouTube, like what I eat in a day, what I'm eating to lose weight. But the thing is, once I feel like I have it, and I talk about it when it goes bad because there's something to talk about. And when I feel like I'm quote unquote in control, for lack of a better word, when I feel like I've sort of got it together, I feel really weird about talking about the fact that, okay, I'm just eating oatmeal every day and hitting copy to the next day and being consistent with that. So it's just not that interesting of a topic to me, but I'm realizing it's interesting to other people, so I'm going to try to be more open about that as I continue to try to do this and see where it is I land. But like I said, based on the data that I have collected through weighing myself, the trend is in fact continuing to go down. I do have my chart here for 3 months. So in the last 3 months, again, it spiked when I went into Baltimore. And then it not only dropped down, it dropped down further than when I started out, which is good. That's exactly what I want. And if I look at 6 month, again, I always like to look at the 6 month because it gives a more long-term picture. That's kind of hard to see sometimes when you're in the middle of the week to week. And I do like this data. I like this chart. I like looking at it. So I know people have a lot of mixed feelings about scales and weighing in, but I think it's something I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to go back to every week. Honestly, I feel like I did better when I was weighing myself every week, and I don't think it's like getting obsessive about the numbers. It's just, it's data. It's this confirmation of if I'm doing the right things or the wrong things, and looking at that data over 6 months, over 3 months, I've definitely had some ups and downs, but mostly it's trended down. It doesn't matter that it's going slowly. It doesn't matter that it's not all that visually impressive yet. It's trending down, and that was all I was seeking from the beginning. 2 pounds a week is fine. 1 pound a week is fine. It's 1 pound less than the week before, and I said, like, from the trend of what the scale was showing me, I'm going down. And so, like, I'm going to stick with weighing myself on a weekly basis. I've had a lot of mixed feelings about it. And who knows, I might change my mind next week. All that matters is that when I do record, I continue to see that mostly, more often than not, the graph is going this way and not this way. And if it does go this way, it doesn't last. It you know, at some point starts to curve back down again. And hopefully within a small window, it does that curve back down again. So that's that. That's what I have to say about my week there. Now, as far as like my calories, I did have some days where I went over. I believe it was Wednesday. Wednesday was a little bit high. But I like to open my Fitness Pal and look at my week. Because the thing is, you can have a bad day. And that's what I'm starting to realize. Like, you can have a bad day. You can have a day where you didn't eat, like, the best choices ever. But as long as you're whole, I'm going to drink my, not Buble this time, the inferior La Croix. But anyway, for my week, it's not looking too terrible. I know people, like, hate carbs. But the thing is, there are people who lose weight on high carb diets, as long as they're creating a caloric deficit. That is not starving yourself. I'm not saying I'm starving myself. I don't feel like I'm starving. If anything, I'm still overeating a little bit, because there are times I'm eating out of boredom still. But I'm controlling what that food is so that it's not derailing me too far. And I'm trying to be conscious of that. And if I can talk myself out of eating when I'm not even really hungry, then, you know, I'm trying to get to a point where I am doing that. But in the meantime, also bringing myself at least to a satiated enough point of fullness that I am not, doing major damage. Like, it's not a large fry from McDonald's. It's a watermelon, bowl from Safeway. And I realize I struggle with this, and because I bought it, I sometimes feel obligated to eat the whole thing, and that's bad. But I'd rather do that with a bowl of watermelon than do it with, like, French fries from McDonald's or a bag of cookies. And the thing is, watermelon is delicious. Pineapples are delicious. Grapes are delicious. And even if I go a little bit overboard with them, it's not going to, like, harm the progress that I'm looking for in the long term. That does not mean I'm not looking for overall nutrition, but I'm just using the percentages that MyFitnessPal gives me, and based on those, I am a little high in the carbs and I need to be adding a little bit more protein in. But my overall week is not, again, that terrible, so I'm pretty proud of that. In the overall picture, there's some days where, like, I could have made better choices. Some of what I was struggling with this week, specifically, was the problem of my fridge being, not always on, and so not wanting to have things that were going to go bad. So I struggled with that a lot this week. With the refrigerator and food. And so a lot of what I was eating for breakfast on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I had some vegetarian black bean burgers, and I just started eating those for breakfast to try to get rid of them. I tried to keep it within a reasonable serving level. I probably ate, a couple days I had 2 in the morning, but I also only been eating 2 meals for most of this week. Yesterday was the last time I had, like, a 3-meal day. I've only been eating, like, 2 actual, like, meals where, like, I actually was, like, parsing out food and saying, this is breakfast, this is dinner. I was kind of not eating anything at lunch. I nibbled on some snacks through the day, and those snacks were, like, raisins, just some miscellaneous stuff I had around that, again, wasn't gonna, like, fruit, it wasn't gonna cause, like, a huge, like, overrun in calories, and therefore still led to the week mostly being successful. So let's talk about everybody's least favorite topic, apparently, exercise. I've been running a lot of errands where I'm still, even though I'm not driving long distances, I am finding myself on my butt a lot behind the steering wheel, or, like I am right now, recording a video, or, like, editing a video, and you're like, oh, Dawn, you can walk around in the world and record a video. And I do those occasionally, especially on the videos that I've been dropping on Instagram. But honestly, it's just about control of the environment. There's loud stuff outside. There's people making noise. There's people talking. There's people interrupt you. There's noises. It's easier to sit in my van and just sit down and record like this than it is to, like, walk around with, like, a stick in front of me, trying to walk and talk and do this thing. Like, I don't think you guys realize, I'm using my phone right now, but this is a little thing. I really like this thing. But this is one of the things I bought. Imagine the cell phone mount and then like the cell phone on it, and you're walking around and you're doing your walk, and I find I just can't concentrate when I do stuff like that. And that's why a lot of times I'll just like sit here and talk when it comes time to like record these videos, and I'm not doing it outside, and I'm not doing it walking in the world. And because I like live in a van, I have even less control over the sounds of the world. Like, people can create like little studios in their basement, and I have like weird lighting on me at random moments all throughout this video, just because like I'm sitting in a parking lot talking to you guys on a camera in my van. And so, or at least on my cell phone camera in my van. And so I kind of have to deal with those environmental issues even inside my van. So I definitely don't want to up those issues by doing a lot of stuff where I'm going to be talking for a long time outside. Every once in a while I find a good spot to do that, but I mostly don't do it. But we're not talking about exercise, we're talking about vlogging. But I really do like this thing when it has like the cell phone mount on it and the phone on it. It actually is easier to hold than like a normal selfie stick. Sometimes you like the selfie stick for long. I'm not going to get on that subject. That's camera stuff. So like I said, on Monday I pretty much didn't do anything. My steps are so low, we're not even going to talk about it. I just finally gotten to Berkeley. My long, like, intense travel was over. I could start making a list and trying to take care of things for the channel, for myself, for life. Like, I could start trying to get myself organized. For the cat. Where's the cat? He's sleeping in front of my driver's seat. For some reason, when I'm not there, that's where he wants to sleep. I don't get it. Like, I'll come back from the store and he's in the driver's seat. Now, open the door and it's not like he wants to jump out. He's just sitting there because he knows I'm going to come back to that seat. And a lot of times he's been like, his favorite cat bed now is like the driver's seat. I don't get it. And also he likes to be on the floor in front of the driver's seat. I mean, like, I could feel complimented. That's where my scent is. We're still not talking about exercise. So on Tuesday was when I wanted to get back into exercise videos. I wanted to get serious again, and it didn't happen. I only got 4,000, a little bit over 4,000 steps. And yeah, the one thing I did that day was weigh myself, and Tuesday was actually, so it's been between Tuesday and yesterday that I've done a weigh-in, so that was actually shorter than a week. So to see that trend down in pretty much shorter than a week as far as the windows between weigh-ins just does feel good. But yeah, that's all I did on Tuesday, November the 10th, is that I got around 4,000 steps in, and I was just through doing the normal stuff of the day. I made no extra efforts, except for weighing myself in, just so I had a marker for the beginning of the week, which was actually something I meant to do on Monday, and I just didn't get to it. Wednesday, I also it looks like I failed to do things. I thought I did stuff on Wednesday. See, this is why we record these things. I'm all mixed up about how the week happened. This first week back in California, back in Berkeley. I've been back in California longer than a week, but I've been back in Berkeley about a little over a week now, a week and a day, because I got here like last Sunday, and Sunday evening. So yeah, I've been here like a week, and again, like my steps, I only got about 4,000 steps in, and that's it. Again, I think that was another day I got caught up in errands. I did laundry that day, which took much longer than I thought, and actually, this is where excuses come in, because now that I'm thinking back on it, while I was waiting for clothes, an easy thing I could have done was walk around the block where the laundromat is. And so I'm going to try to be more proactive and sort of think about those things in the moment. I didn't think about it in the moment. I was running out of clothes, and I just, I hadn't done laundry for a while. I have less pants than I do shirts, because I love t-shirts, but a lot of my old pants, and these don't apply, because my thighs rub, the thighs were like worn out. So I've gotten rid of a lot of pants, especially since I went down sort of a size. Now most of the pants that I wear have elastic waist. So it's really when I put on my actual jeans that I see the difference. And that's another reason why I think the scale is such an important tool for me, because I honestly, most of my clothes were already oversized, so it wasn't like I went from form-fitting clothes to loose clothes. Like, I've always worn oversized t-shirts, and so they're not really a great gauge, and most of the pants I wear on a daily basis are like stretchy pants, jogging pants, things with an elastic waist, because it just made life easier. And so it's not really a great gauge until I put on something where I have to wear my belt. And then it's like, oh yeah, now I see the difference. I'm not to the point like my elastic waist pants are like falling off. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to November 12th. On November 12th, so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm on Thursday now. On Thursday, that was the time that I actually got out the video. I actually put some work in. And I did a Fat Blaster workout actually in the parking lot of Office Depot. There's an area right behind Office Depot. It's also where I installed my my voltage sensitive relay, my dual battery isolator, where it's pretty abandoned, and so it's very easy to like go over there and like use that space, because I have no fears a bunch of cars are going to come up. I'm going to put my leg down trying to park. And so that was the first day I really got back on the grind with doing exercise videos, and I realized something. Thursday was the first day I actually pressed play again on one of my fitness videos, and I will say, since I started that again, it's actually been a little easier to focus on my steps. It's something about doing that exercise video that makes me feel like I did something, and so I want to do more, and I'm energized, and I'm like really into the idea of like knocking out fitness goals. It's something there's an attachment there, and for right now it's working for me, so I'm glad I restarted those. The good thing, though, about being forced into, not really forced, but in a situation where it just wasn't conducive for me to do an exercise program that required like me finding a location and doing a setup and pulling out exercise gear. The one thing about taking that away, and just really having to like crack down on my diet again, is that yes, if I was just doing diet, I would still lose weight, but honestly, like I did not feel good. Like something was missing that got rebooted when I started doing those exercise videos again. And like I said, part of my goal is to have more fitness, so like you can just flat out lose weight without really like worrying about like the exercise portion of it. But I wasn't happy, and I don't know how long I would have actually stayed focused if that was all I did. And so that day I really felt like I was back back in the ball game. I was feeling energized. I was like, yeah, I'm back on track. And the funny thing was, the weigh-in had already proved to me that I'd gotten back in control of my diet a little bit, meal plan, life change, whatever. I'd gotten back in control of food a little bit. Control sounds like I have an issue. And I'm not going to say I don't have issues, but I felt like I was back on track with food, like in a good place where I wasn't feeling hungry. I didn't even want to go after like bad things. I'm not going to say I still don't like see like chips I like and be like, ooh, it'd be great to get a bag of chips. Like I still have those thoughts, feelings, emotions. I don't think they're ever going to go away, but I didn't feel like I felt fine, like as far as what I was eating, what I was doing, but it was just fine. I didn't feel good. And then when I knocked out a Turbo Jam like exercise video on the 12th, I felt like back on track. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to be doing. This is great. And I also wanted to get in those 10,000 steps, and guess what? I didn't. So on Friday the 13th, it rained. And that was the day I was originally going to do my dual battery isolator project, and it got pushed a day ahead because of rain, which was really frustrating at that point because I had a whole plan for the week. Because it was raining all day, I kind of like sat in the van and like didn't get out there and do anything like super early because I was just trying to wait out the rain and see if it would stop. Now, for those of you who've seen my canopy tent, one of the reasons I bought that canopy tent was so I could still exercise in the rain, which I've done in previous videos, but It's kind of a pain to pull out. It's not easy to set up. And if I can avoid setting it up, if I feel like the rain will end, or if there's a way to exercise without pulling the darn thing out, I kind of prefer that. It's much better for camping, where I'm going to set it up for a few days and not take it down for a few days. Like, I love using it for that. But setting it up to exercise for 20, 30, 45, even in minutes, even an hour, is kind of a pain in the butt. So I was trying to avoid it. I was trying to avoid all the steps of pulling out this canopy tent, putting it up, and doing the thing. I also wanted to do the battery isolator project, and so I was kind of like sad that wasn't gonna happen. And I think like my brain was there. Like, I was totally focused on getting it done that day. A lot of it had to do with the refrigerator. Like, I didn't want my food to go bad. And I don't even know how else to explain it. I was frustrated. I was genuinely frustrated that day, and I still got out, and I ended up doing Turbo Jam cardio party. I was gonna do a Turbo Sculpt, which would have required pulling out my hand weights, but again, it was raining. It was nasty. I wanted to exercise, but I felt like I needed to change the plan, and I didn't want to do a plan that required me pulling out equipment into wetness. I didn't mind personally being in wetness, but I didn't want to pull equipment out. So I ended up exercising towards the nighttime. Like, the sun was going down. It seemed like the rain was peeling off, and so it did rain and drizzle a little bit while I was out there. But I went out there, I did the exercise. So I did what's a cardio party remix with Turbo Jam, and it was fun. It was great. And after that, I was super determined to get my 10,000 steps in. Like, I was like, I'm going to start making this a part of it too. Like, I was very determined to do both things, which is always my goal. My goal is to get 10,000 steps and do an exercise video that is at minimum 20 minutes long. Every once in a while, I do one that's 15 minutes or less. Most of the time, I try to go a half an hour or longer. And I like combining that with 10,000 steps. The 10,000 steps did happen that day. The video happened that day. And it was a rainy day. And I dragged my butt as far as like getting that done. And so another day, I was pretty proud of myself for that. And felt pretty accomplished, as it were. So the 14th. You guys saw the video of the 14th today. And so what day is that? That's Saturday at this point. It's now Saturday. Saturday the 14th was the day that I installed my dual battery isolator, as well as another product yet to be talked about. So I did 2 installs on the van that day. Recording something while you're doing it always makes it take 2 to 3 times as long, just by moving the camera, trying to make sure you're capturing enough steps that you're sort of covering everything without like sticking in a bunch of like extra stuff. So what you saw in like a video that was less than a half hour literally took my entire day. It took my entire day to like get stuff out the van, actually do the project, and then put everything back away. And so, honestly, I ended up just dealing with the day. Now, that was also a day where I had my oatmeal for breakfast and my hot tea as normal. And then for dinner, I was exhausted. I had not got 10,000 steps. I had about 6,000 steps and some change. And I was just done. I was like, I really should try to get those last 4,000 steps. But it's the middle of the night. I'm freaking tired. I want to just feed the cat and like go to bed. But I also wanted dinner. And so that was the day that I had Taco Bell. And the thing is, that night I knew I was within my calories. So like, yes, I had the Taco Bell, but it wasn't like I see Taco Bell so I want it. It was honestly, I had a busy day, and what I did, my project took up the entire day, and so I was completely willing to just have Taco Bell. And so I had the Taco Bell. I had something off the vegetarian menu, which I normally do because I don't eat meat. And I also had some Starbucks. Okay, I'm gonna admit it. I had a Frappuccino from Starbucks. So I actually had not looked at my macros for the week until today. And so seeing that I still had that day, that one day where I had the Taco Bell because I was tired. I'd only eaten once that day in the morning. And like I said, up to that point, Yeah, it must have been up to that point. I'd just been eating 2 meals a day. Anyway, I'd been eating breakfast and I'd been eating dinner, and I hadn't been eating anything in the middle of the day, and that's just because I was busy during the middle of the day, and I honestly wasn't thinking about eating, except for the occasional snack. And honestly, even the snacking wasn't that bad based on like some of my past behaviors. And so I had Taco Bell and a Frappuccino from the Starbucks that was right next door. And when I looked at my week, it was still fine. So that actually felt good. It felt like, a lot of times I talk about, it is hard dealing with food addiction and binge eating, and this didn't feel like either. I did have mixed emotions about it, just because, like, I know better, and I know me, but I want to eventually become the person that exists in the world that can do that, who can have a Taco Bell like one time in the week out of like a whole month, and it'll be fine. I want to eventually be that person, but I do worry because I am at the point where I am still losing. Like, losing is still the goal, not maintenance. And I just don't actually trust myself. Like, when I look back at it as a logical person, I know what I did was fine. It wasn't the end of the world. Everything is okay. But I know a deeper part of myself that could fall off the wagon like very, very easily, and I was worried about that. But the next day came and I was fine. It wasn't like, oh my god, I had that Taco Bell, I need to have it again today. Oh my god, I need to have it again. And I remember when I was doing that, like, literally I was just like, yeah, I'll go get XYZ from Taco Bell, and then I'll get XYZ from Taco Bell. And before you know it, in addition to everything else you've eaten that day, you have 1,500 calories of Taco Bell, which, if all you had was that 1,500 calories of Taco Bell for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's fine. It's funny, I didn't like Taco Bell growing up, and then I got into the streak as an adult where I was there all the time, just because they were too very convenient to me, and it's not that expensive. And they have vegetarian options, which is like great for me. And if all you have is that, that's fine. But I know at that time, it wasn't just the 3 meals that were Taco Bell. Like, if you do that every once in a blue moon, even all day, it's probably going to be fine. But like I said, when I was in that mindset, that wasn't what was happening. I'd had that. I probably had like 3 energy drinks that day. I'd probably had a couple of bags of chips, and those chips always have more than one serving in the bag. Like, I had done a lot more than just those 3 meals. So those 3 meals, on top of all the other bad choices, were a combo event of disaster. And this was not a combo event of disaster, but when that gate opens, there's always this fear. And so I did have that fear a little bit that day, but not so much it was debilitating, and not so much that I could move on and say, it was fine, Dawn, look at your weekly view. So on the 15th, that was the second day that I got my 10,000 steps in. And I'm going to try to get my 10,000 steps in today as well. I just did the thing. I went to a park that I really like. I did start a little bit late with only like, I don't remember. I think I might have had, it's recorded on video. But anyway, I sort of like, I went for it. I got my 10,000 steps that day. I also did yoga-ish. I don't like to call it like legitimate yoga. It is a 40-minute stretch routine that is a part of the Turbo Fire program, which is, these are all Chalene Johnson programs. The last time I lost a ton of weight, I was using Chalene Johnson. And so, like, I'm going to stick with her. Chalene Johnson is one of the trainers on Beachbody. I've listened to her motivational tapes. I have, done a lot of her programs. And I always have fun with them. I don't know what to say. I really like Chalene Johnson. I like her programs. I like her videos. And I haven't found anyone I like as much. And so I did her Turbo Fire stretch routine. I was worried that I lost some of the flexibility I gained in like that, I think it was about a 2-week gap where I wasn't doing any concentrated exercise, as it were. And I feel like I sustained quite a bit. I remember when I could not get into downward dog, and now I can. I remember when I couldn't hold a plank, now I can hold it much longer. There are things that I used to struggle with that I'm still not struggling with as much. I definitely did lose lose a little bit there. You always lose a little bit when you stop doing something, but I wasn't set all the way back. So just like with my weight, I was able to like regain the distance I lost. I feel like regaining the fitness I lost in whatever degree, it's gonna be okay. I am trying to focus more on cardio for a little bit, and less on weight training, as much as I like weight training. I mean, honestly, I found this this Instagrammer by accident. I just saw one of her pictures and I was like, man, I need to follow her because her like body is so motivating. And like, yeah. I saw this picture and I was like, I am following you. And a lot of her like Instagram posts have nothing to do with fitness, but I was just like, this is the kind of physicality that I want to get to. This is the kind of physicality I admire. Like, I don't know, something about women with like these feminine women with like muscles. Is that weird? I just like the idea of being that strong at some point. I've always enjoyed the idea of strength, of bodybuilding, of weightlifting. I have the suspicion, and there are people who may criticize me, that there's a lot more muscle under this fat than is apparent, because I've always loved weightlifting. I've always been drawn to it. I took a weightlifting class in college twice, and enjoyed it both times. Both times I was in like exercise and weight loss mode. And every time I got taken out of that, it wasn't for lack of a joy in what I was doing. It was life. Something happened in life. There's been a string of things that were just a punch in the gut. Everything about my life changed, and so there were things I had to let go. And I find when I'm not thinking about exercise, like exercise takes something in me where I'm like, yeah, I'm focused on being fit and being healthy and like making good choices. You know, some people might think my choices aren't that good, because I know people just want me to give up carbs. Only I've seen the evidence that you can be perfectly fine and not like nix carbs out of your life. But the thing is, when I'm focused on like fitness, when I'm focused on exercise, the choices I make are just better, and they're almost better by instinct. Whereas when I lose access to the ability to do it, it's not the same. And you might find that weird because I don't like the gym. I have talked a lot about how much I hate the gym. Like the physical building that is a gym, I hate. And people don't make a distinction between going to the gym sometimes and exercise. Like, I think those two things are like completely separate things. You can exercise in the gym, you can exercise in your house, you can exercise in the middle of a national forest. Mountain climbers are exercising. People riding their bike are exercising. People who are rollerblading are exercising. People who are doing pole dancing classes are exercising. People who are doing dance classes are exercising. All of things are extra movements that burn energy. So at some point, you know, if you say you don't like the gym, people go, oh, you don't like exercise. Let me fix that for you. And it's like, that's not what I said. I have a very specific list of reasons that I find the gym frustrating. And here they are for you. I'm not going to go through those in this video. So that's it. I just wanted to talk about the week. I didn't have any particular goals for this video. I didn't have any particular subject for this video. I just wanted to go through the week and talk about it. It's been an interesting week. I can't believe I've already been back for a week. I'm already not organized for next week. I already have a list of things I didn't get to last week that I need to get to this week. And my brain is like, psh. But all in all, as far as like getting back on the path of my health and fitness goals. I really did prioritize those this week, and I prioritized it honestly over answering emails. I honestly prioritized it over getting back to messages that I need to get back to. I prioritize, if I needed to find time for something, I prioritize getting back on track with that. Even if it was like 10 minutes of figuring out where should I go to do this, where am I going to walk, where will I feel safe walking if the sun goes down. So yeah, I don't have anything else for this video. That's another health, fitness check-in. I will see you guys in the next video.